I remember trying to go to certain places where there's possibility my child could be. And imagine I was telling you, like, I don't even know if that paperwork real. How would you get custody? You know, it's like they downplayed the fact of a father, then they downplayed the fact of me being a black father.
Yo, what's good? What's poppin'? What it is, what it ain't, what it could be, what it should be, what it would be. Cam Newton, the son, Mr. Boogie the All, here with another episode of Funky Friday. I promise, I really do promise. Give good content for the masses. And I also promise to always keep it funky. Now, today's guest is a rapper, activist, entrepreneur, record executive, Houston icon, but most importantly, he's a father. I present to some and introduce to others. My guy, Trae Tha Truth. How we thugging, bro?
Blessed, I'm blessed. Appreciate you having me, bro.
Like, I always wanted to ask you, you always had a deep voice?
Yeah, my kids got the same thing. I just pray my daughter don't have it.
Wait, what? Oh, I'm like, dang, bro, because like, I grew up with folks with deep voice, and I already knew, like, it wasn't no singing alto or soprano. It was just
No, I can do all of it. We make it work.
And this whole aura, you just like mellow. Like you always been that way.
Always, man. It be so crazy. People barely know how to figure me out because I just be so laid back all the time.
But let's get right into it, man. My first question is, how would you describe the environment that you grew up in?
At times hard, definitely stressful, but a blessing at the same time. You know, when you get old and as far as you develop your relationship with the man up above, you understand that even in some moments when it was hard, it was for the greater good, you know? So every lesson is a blessing. So I'm appreciative. I don't take nothing back from how I came up, but it definitely was probably something you wouldn't want to recommend another child have to go through. But it built character for us, you know?
Man, you know, I always got love for Houston. Shout out to, you know what I'm saying, H-Town, because a lot of me was impacted with that city. Me going to junior college in Brenham, Texas, and for the people who don't know where Brenham is, it's smack dab in the middle of Austin, Houston, and College Station.
Waco, all that.
You know what I'm saying? All that. So a lot of people who I went to school with was either from Houston, Austin, and I picked up that kind of culture, you know what I'm saying, during that time that I was there. Not to mention Dallas, a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, were from that area, but the junior college blend, their hub, their sports hub was in Brenham. So a lot of kids from many different sectors of Texas, you know what I'm saying, wound up there. And every person had its own distinct, you know what I'm saying, kind of history about them, you know what I'm saying, from Mexican descent, Caucasians, African Americans, you know, and they put me on different genres of music, Paul Wall, Bun B, obviously you, and it was just something about the Texas vibe, bro, that it's not sped up, it's just a soulfulness, it's slowed down, it's just a rhythmic, you know what I'm saying, tone and silhouette to just listening to it that makes it completely distinct than any other, you know, kind of sector of music. What is that makes Texas sound different?
Oh, well, first and foremost, our sound and culture comes from DJ Screw. You know, he definitely paved the way for all of us, and just the vibe, you know what I'm saying? Just the vibe of it is, because, you know, in Houston, you know, well, just Texas period, we have the slabs, we got the old schools, we got, you know, we like to cruise, we lay back, fly, and, you know, that's what Screw brought to the table, as far as within the culture, but then also within the music. So I think everything about it just laid back and just feel good. So a lot of times when you meet a lot of artists from Houston, you never really catch us hyper or nothing like that. We just natural laid back cats. It just, at this point, it's bred in us, you know what I'm saying?
So when you say slab, like,
Yeah.
what's the slab for layman's term?
A slab would be, for us, you know, the old school, you know, candy paint, swangers, you know, 84s, which now, you know, they got the super long ones, you know, the fifth wheels, convertible tops, the interior, wood wheel, and the trunk full of music.
Full of
Music. I just did one of my new slabs. I did it. Me and DJ Envy was doing a car show in Houston and put so much music in it the first day I went to play it, it blew out my back window. So, yeah.
Man, that's crazy. Like, I heard of, like, the elbows and songs until you experience it. And it's like, brother, the elbow was so ridiculous that, like, you can't even drive alongside of it. Heaven forbid trying to parallel park or park close to something because it's a liability. And, you know, being from the South, rims have always been a part of an aesthetic of a car. But it wasn't until I went to, like, the Texas Relays where I just experienced, like, ghost riding the whip and just, like, swinging from side to side. And I'm like, bro, where am I at? Like, this ain't even real. You know what I'm saying? Like, people rap about it, people talk about it, but just to see it in real time, like, you really see, like, the culture, and then with the neon lights, and it's like, it's...
Yeah, well, you have your favorite saying in your trunk, you know what I'm saying? Mine was, you niggas can't handle the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's just different stuff, but yeah, the culture of it is just, that's what made us who we are. But then when you speak of slabs, especially people who came up my era and even after, you felt like you weren't complete until you actually was able to do a slab. Because that's, you know how you in different cities or different cultures, it's certain things they do that you feel like one day that's gonna be me.
Yeah.
So that's how it was when it came with the slabs and stuff.
That's dope. How did you shape your sense of purpose, though, you know, coming through the culture of Houston as a whole?
As far as what you mean?
Just like everybody has their own unique way of going about things. You know what I'm saying? There are certain things that shift who you are. You know what I'm saying? For you, what would you kind of pinpoint and say, like, this gave me purpose and this is what made me want to do what I do now?
Coming up, one of the feelings that I did not like was feeling like it was just me by myself. And then when you're going through some of your most terrible moments, as a man, our pride don't have us running to our mama like, hey, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. So, you know, you get in the streets and you figure it out on your own. But it be times when you're out there, at moments you just probably want somebody just to listen to you. And you don't have that. It give you a sense of just feeling like it's me against the world. And I always said if I was blessed to get on, I was going to be that one that people can lean on. And slowly but surely, God ended up giving me the opportunity to really get into music and where it became something. Because, you know, at first when we rap, it don't mean we going to get fans. It don't mean nobody buying no records, none of that. But when I got it, and I would just be in situations, you know, where I may be out, it may be a child with a mama, or it may be a family that's unable to do something, and I might have had it on me right then and there. So for me, it's like, rather than you feel hopeless or feel like you ain't got no help, or you feel like it's just all bad, you know, just to show you that somebody can care, even if it's somebody you don't know, somebody who never met you, but just show somebody that just genuinely care, that uplift them. And not only that, it plant a seed within them, because now if they come across somebody and they able, now it motivated them to just go bless somebody else.
No, for sure. Growing up in Houston, how did the city itself raise you and impact you?
It made me who I am, man. The impact that I have across the world is all owed to, for sure, my mom, 'cause she birthed me, but Houston, just how I move, you know what I'm saying? And I think it shaped me to be something that I have no regrets about, because you got to think, music-wise, I probably have the most relationships in the industry. Music-wise, I've done probably the most music with people. I've helped a lot of people, a lot of some of the bigger artists, and just do it from behind the scenes without trying to even get recognition,
Yeah.
But all that still comes from just the love and what was built and molded me to be who I am.
You got any siblings?
Yeah.
How many siblings you have?
From my mother, 2 brothers. From my father, 3 brothers. And then I got a bunch of god brothers and other brothers. So yeah. I was always, my mama was the neighborhood mama with all the homies from the hood. Regardless of what's going on, this the house you go. So it automatically bred a big family.
That wasn't me.
Yeah?
You couldn't come to my house. Like growing up, bro, like I can't even remember a time where I even bought a girlfriend in my house. That just wasn't who I was. Like after school, when you skip school, you be like, bro, we gonna go to this person's house. Let's go to that person's house. Everybody knew you can't go to Cam's house. Cam's daddy was a preacher. Like you liable to get whooped over there, you know what I'm saying? Just being an innocent bystander, you feel me? But, just having that, I always envied that, you know what I'm saying, for people. Not necessarily that I hated that for myself, but just the parents who got it and nurtured, you know what I'm saying, multiple outside of the band with the children. You feel what I'm saying? Because that's needed, especially in this day and age. Me being so tapped into the youth and realizing like, there ain't a lot of places where kids can go to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now, granted, there's a line, right? Because kids still will be kids and they try to do mischievous things and push the pendulum. But, all in all, for a kid to have a safe haven, to have a grown-up or an adult to be there to go. And I'm a firm believer that if they don't have an outlet at home, they're going to find an outlet somewhere.
So a lot of people don't tend to understand that, right? Like, my relationship with my kids is, I'm a father, but I'm the homie at the same time, And just to go back to what you said, before I get to me and my kids, what happens is, one thing I've always knew coming up, especially when you come up in the hood, the parents who the most strict on their kids probably gonna end up tend to having the ones that's gonna act out, the one that's gonna be curious to get into stuff and probably gonna get placed in a way worse situation because they feel like they gotta get it out.
Yeah, it's the curiosity.
Yeah. So that's why I was getting to say, I had a relationship with my kids where I'm a father where they know what to do, what not to do, but I'm also the homie. So it's like, if I expose you to different things in the world, if another child come trying to key you up, you're not even going to, you're going to be like, my pops already showed me that. I'm not curious to do that. Whether that may be, like my son, Houston, I let him get behind the wheel since he was 11. So, you know what I'm saying? Like even now, my daughter Truth in the background, it come times where she may want to drive or she may want to do this. It's like, I just do different things, like
unconventional things.
And like even with Truth, like we on the road right now, too deep. Like it don't matter. It would be to a point if I'm doing listening parties at clubs and stuff in different cities, they'd have to have something set up for my kids to be able to come in there. Like I expose my kids to, I'm very protective, but I expose them to things so they can understand what things is. I want them to have the smartness of both worlds, you know what I'm saying? And then with that, any 2 ways something go on, they always know, man, I can go to Pops and holler at them. I ain't got to hide it from them. Yeah. Because what happens when you make a child feel like you going to trip out on them 24/7 or just talk down to them, then it automatically make them rebellious.
Yeah. I want to ask this, man. Being the father of 4, how has that role shaped you, not just as a man, but as an artist and leader?
I believe it made me better. It made me better as a whole because before you have kids, you don't really give a damn about living or none of that. You're going to do whatever it is living in the moment because you feel like you don't have people relying on you. But when you have your own kids, it's different because it's like, no matter what I do, I got to make it back home to them. Like it's not an option, and even with my boys, it built me to definitely be a hustler and amazing to how I can. But then when it came to my youngest, which is my daughter, man, that really shifted everything. Because now it's like things that I know I would react on or things that I know I would do, all that's out the window. Because the only thing I could think of is, man, I got to make sure I protect my kids. Because truth be told, we had a lot of losses in Houston, a lot of artists. I have a lot of homies across the world that pass away. And man, one thing I always notice when they pass away, a lot of people who was around them, they don't go back to check on their kids. They don't go back to help with their children. That's why I'm so firm with doing that too with a lot of my homies' kids. Because what happened is, it's like, for me, the reason why I know I got to think before I do certain stuff with my kids, because I don't want something to happen to me and I ain't got nobody looking out for my kids, somebody guiding or somebody directing them like, nah, that ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Or even trying to help in the system. So that's why it's real important that my kids definitely formed me into being a grown man, really.
Yeah. You've been open about your custody case with your daughter's mother. How did that experience stretch your emotions mentally?
I think this last situation when I was searching for my daughter for all the months, I think that probably broke me down the most I've been broke down in life. And I've dealt with a lot of things, you know, from my older brother doing life sentences, one of my other brothers being murdered, the two that I knew as sisters being murdered. Like, I've been through so much in life to where I became numb. I didn't really have emotion, you know. It's just like, it is what it is. I'm going to deal with it for what it is. And I think, man, that last situation with searching and looking for my daughter, I think that broke me down to the point I felt helpless and hopeless, you know, because it's like, what if she just decided to get one day like, hey, I wonder where my dad is, or she may need me, whatever that may be. I'm unable to get to her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now I feel less of a man because it's like, I can't even be there. Like, this my little princess. I can't even be there to comfort her, to be there for her, to just love on her, you know. And I think I cried so much between that time. And really on side of that, I think God probably broke me down in that process too, because a lot of times we tend to lean on our own understanding as opposed to understand, you know, sometimes you have to let go and leave it in his hands and it's going to work out the way it needs to work out.
Yeah. So just for the people to understand more, like, because I believe in being a blessing by actions of what give you the right to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? And sharing, you know, this as a testimony because, you know, I'm a firm believer. I seen it. I seen you go through it and hearing it in your voice, not necessarily seeing you face to face, but hearing it's like, yo, I know what it's like when somebody play with your kids. And this is not necessarily through the government, but through your own powers that be. You know what I'm saying? That at some point you had feelings, deep feelings for a person and for you to kind of go through it. So can you really bring us up to speed through your situation and how you can give insight for others going through this same situation?
As far as you talking about before my daughter was born or just in the process of...
Just getting your daughter back.
So first and foremost, man, the system for fathers is not designed for that, you know, which I commend Texas for even being understanding that situation, because I watch a lot of fathers. You ever see when fathers may be like, man, I ain't talked to my kids, and Lord knows, it's just like, I'm off the drama. Like, I consistently just go through it to where they got tired and was like, man, you know what? Y'all got it, I'm gonna get out y'all way. For me, I chose to move different. Like, my kids can't fight for themselves, you know? So if they can't fight for themselves, I brought them here, that's my responsibility. So, you know, that's why I fought so hard in general behind my daughter. But went through the custody battle for 6 years. And at the end, which I believe the beginning of 2024, they awarded me custody.
Full custody?
Yeah, no, primary custody at the point, so where she would be living with me. And
congratulations.
Right. Oh, now I have full custody, but I appreciate you on that. Yeah. But what happened was So when I got primary custody, I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna let her finish her school year off, and at the end of the school year, you'll come with me, because at the end of the day, you want her to be able to
Some
adapt.
type of normalcy, yeah.
Yeah, so I did that, and she got out of school, then they ended up letting her go back for the summer. So then I had to wait again, and right when it got time for her to get ready to go to school, man, I was letting her take her visitation in Houston, and I went and dropped off, and I've never seen her again.
And how many months?
That happened in August, and I got my baby back January 1st of this year. So, a good four and something months.
So I want to stay here for a second, because this narrative that has been shoved down people's, brains for years and centuries is Black fathers are not seen in their lives. You know what I'm saying? And I want to speak honest in this time, because oftentimes a lot of parents or a lot of children grow up with a resentment to their parents, not because their fathers didn't want to be in their lives. It's because
They were told.
it was the pettiness that one parent had towards the other one, and that can have long-lasting impact on a child without them really knowing or diving deep into like, yo, dad, like, why didn't you come and see me? You know what I'm saying? Because I see it happen so many times in individuals' lives where it's like, yo, my dad really ain't a bad person. It's not even that my mom was a bad person. They went through so much and they didn't know how to cope with the situation at hand. And it just happened where rage and anger kept my mom from showing or allowing my dad to see. And there's an old saying of like, a person who really knows you and understands you know how to hit you where it hurts worse.
Yeah.
So if you care a lot about money, the person who wants to get or seek revenge will attack you in your money. If you genuinely care about your children, that's where they're gonna hit you at.
They definitely knew that was the only thing that could break me. I've been through everything. It ain't nothing I ain't been through just in life in general. It's even going all the way to the point of pain, just hurt. I've been through all that. But the one thing they know that definitely broke me down was what they had was my child, and for them, I don't know, because one thing I be real big on is I don't bash, you know what I'm saying? Like I watch everything I say, because at the end of the day, that's still my daughter's mother. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, I ain't here to be doing that, but I definitely know they knew they was hurting me by doing what they did,
Now, throughout this process with, what you was faced with, I'm assuming that there were phone calls, text messages, you've tried to reach out numerous times.
Oh, yeah. Phones were off. The address where they stayed was swiped. And I was in LA. Because once I had got wind that it was possibility, that's where my daughter was at. I was there living in a hotel, going through every hood of places that people were telling me a possibility my child can be. And that's what I was doing. And it's crazy, right? So in the midst of that, in the midst of me looking for my daughter, I get served with some papers of all kind of false stuff. So with that being happened, that kind of bought them time. So now, keep in mind, this all happened in Houston. Now I have to go to LA and fight a whole nother case of something that I have no idea about in the process of looking for my daughter. And I went to court, and the judge didn't know that I had custody. She's only know what she's being told. So when I first went to court, I probably believe that the judge felt like, yeah, he's one of these bad guys. I don't know what he got going on or who he think he is, until she actually held a conversation with me and my lawyer when I was at court, when I got to speak, and found she got in touch with the judge in Texas, and they let her know that I had custody and what was going on. So at that moment, they like, okay, well, you have till this time tomorrow to bring the child in. And they ran, and ain't nobody heard nothing again since. So at that point, that's what made it get even bigger, to where you had the U.S. Marshal and other people out looking for it now, because now this judge, not only the judge in Texas, now this judge here, specifically gave you demands or rules to make sure that you bring the baby back to where she's supposed to be. And she went with her move, and that's what led to it being so long of a
process
search. Yeah. And I can honestly say, man, like I said, wholeheartedly, that was probably the most hurtful, but the most frustrating, right? I'm gonna tell you why, because I remember trying to go to certain places where it's possibility my child could be, and you have to let the officers know, look, I have paperwork. This is how it's supposed to be. And imagine I was officer telling you, like, I don't even know if that paperwork real. How would you get custody? You know, it's like they downplayed the fact of a father. Then they downplayed the fact of me being a black father and everything that I was going through. They actually thought I was just trying to kick up dust and was lying about the stuff. And they're like, bro, how do I lie about this? I don't know how to make this paperwork up. I'm just simply trying to tell you that. So whichever direction or whatever go on with me trying to get my baby, y'all don't come over here and try and do something to me. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So you'll know I have the right of way. And, man, you was dealing with that, and then you have to deal with, you got Monday through Friday, people go to work. Guess what? On the weekends, they want to get home to their kids. So even if it's a chance that you may have or can know where your child is in that process, you got to wait till the next Monday. You know what I'm saying? So it was so many different roadblocks and frustrations. And the person who got my child definitely was God. And I'm going to tell you why, man. Once I finally let him know that I'm letting go, I surrender this in his hands, I started fasting. And I was supposed to do a hosting New Year's night to go to a club. You know what I mean? We rap, New Year's celebration.
That's a part of your
so in the midst of my fast, instead of doing it, I ended up going to church. And I spent my time there. And I never forget, right after that, at like 5 in the morning, I got a call. And they say, hey, we found your baby.
Hit that subscribe button. Back to the show.
I get up frantic. It's funny because when I get up, just to hear them words, I'm running back and forth from the bed to the bathroom for about 20 minutes and ain't touched nothing. I'm just doing the same thing till I realize, like, bro, what the fuck is you doing? Like, hold on. Because at this point, it's like,
You in shock.
Yeah, so I called my son, my youngest son. He was upstairs. I like, man, we got to go. We flew into San Diego, and my brother Rob, who's my partner also of my company Bumpbox. We owners of Bumpbox. We fly to San Diego, jump in the car with him, and they drive us down by the border of Mexico to a place called El Centro. And they tell me where she is. Now, keep in mind, as a father, when you're away from your child for a certain amount of time, it's a lot of thoughts that go in your brain, like, is she mad at me? Do she like me? Have she been told something different? How is she gonna respond when I see her? You just wonder about, because you naturally care for your kid. And I was nervous as can be, man. And when I went to the facility, the CPS facility there, when I first seen her, that first probably minute or so, I could tell she was hesitant. And you have to understand that is probably that shit will crush you like no other. And but I always had a relationship with my baby where I can talk to my baby. So as I'm talking to her and she coming to me, keep in mind I had a brother. Now her brother's is her life. He was hiding in a corner. So I'm telling her she, because I know she don't really know what's going on at the moment. So she hesitant. But I tell her to turn around and she see her brother. When she see her brother, it went back into the mode of, oh shit, these my guys.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, we've been running since. We ain't had issues. She know whatever she need to holler at me about. All she got to do is talk to me. And even then, it's a process when I tell you my kids is who made me and molded me to be who I am, because even getting her back right, you nervous because now my baby, she want to do homeschool. She don't want to be around no kids, no nothing. And I got to respect and ride with whatever she want, because I got to make sure mentally she all right. And tried hard. And I finally got her to go to school. I got her to agree to go to school for a couple hours. So when she would go to school for the first couple weeks, which was probably close to a month in when she was back, I would sit outside the classroom in a chair, like security, meaning they knew no matter. So anytime she come look out that window,
You there.
I'm there. And if I ain't there, it was gonna be pure chaos for her, And I did, and I finally got to a point where she started going. And again, remember I told you I teach my baby the best of all worlds to where she was advanced, and it was a blessing, bro. She ended up graduating this year. So not only missing so long of school, you coming back doing double the work.
Yeah.
To where now you going to your next grade
And
at
how
the top
old
of
is
that. She's 6.
So at 6 years old, right? Having children, is that the only child you have with the mother?
Yeah. That's Truth is my youngest, my
Yeah.
only daughter.
So even with that, how does that impact your relationship with her? What happens to her, with her being on a run, and like that's what kind of is the biggest kind of question mark for me right now. It's like, if that process happens, what happens to the mother?
In this situation, they ended up taking her mother. And I haven't had no communication or conversation to know exactly what the process is or what's what. My full focus been strictly kicking it with my baby and raising her to be the best that she can be, and just being there for her, because, instantly got her own therapist, everything, and even with the therapist, like I don't get in them conversations. I stay far away from them because I want her to have the sense of comfortableness where she can let out whatever she needs to let out,
Yeah.
And I definitely know she's my child, because I can look at my child and the same way I wander off, I may be just looking. Like, we got a relationship now, which you'll see in a little while. We got a relationship to where sometimes we don't even say words. She may look at me and she'll be like, so it's just like, you good? And
Yeah.
I'm the same way with her. So
Yeah.
we naturally just do whatever's best to make sure each other's good, And I think, man, it built me to become a better person daily,
Yeah. So my last question from this: if a person, or you were to find out that a person is going through the same situation, and how would you advise them to kind of go about it, from a man or even from a woman that is in search for their child? What's the processes to complete these things? Do you go to the police? What's the
I would
methodology?
say, first and foremost, never give up. And I say that because a lot of times people give up. One, because I don't know if you know, fighting a custody case, costs more than a murder case. You see what I'm saying? You spending hundreds of thousands. I've talked to people who spent the 200s of thousands fighting for their child. So that's a lot. So sometimes people don't have the means. But for me, I tell them not to give up, even if that's not the route of going. It's different ways you can go to where you can learn certain things about the system. You have people who will teach you that, to where you can go in there and at least try and get whatever you can, whether it may be bare minimum, whatever, but never give up. Because also, you said something earlier, that's one of the biggest things that a child can say when they get older, is like, well, why you didn't fight for me? And if you say you did, but it was too hard, why you didn't fight harder? You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, no, you don't. And it's crazy. So Trae Day weekend coming up in Houston, I'm doing a conversation called Dads Matter, right? Because I'm real big on, I don't believe in trying to bash mothers, because it's some trifling fathers and there's some no good mothers.
For sure.
But I'm doing it because sometimes people don't know, so they need the knowledge. It may be somebody that actually have rights where they can be seeing their child, but they just didn't know how to go about it. And now you got 4 or 5 years that went by, you could have been in your child's life, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's very important. And I'm working with people, and especially my lawyer, her name's Stephanie Prophet, one of the best lawyers when it comes to custody and things like that out of Houston. Definitely, they should hit her up if they need it. But I'm working with her. I want to try and go change some of the laws, because it's not designed for fathers. But you know, it's not designed for fathers probably because it was just a lot of trifling ones. You know, that when those processes were going through. But now you know you have fathers that will. I damn near stop my whole, bro. You understand, a year of me not really doing music, a year of me not doing movies, not doing nothing. It was just strictly half the time was looking for my baby, and the other half was putting pure love and time into my baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got fathers out here that will sacrifice their well-being and everything else for their child. So that's why I really want to try and get people the knowledge and try and see if we can fight for laws just where things can be equal, you know, because you deal with a lot of situations that happen nowadays when you have parents dealing with kids. Is one parent may have made the other parent mad, one may have cheated, one may have not gave one, and then the child is used as, okay, well, you ain't acting right, so guess what?
It's the pawn.
Get out, yeah,
The
and it's
child
like,
is the pawn.
that's the one thing I don't do, I don't rock with that, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying we have to fight for those who can't fight for themselves. So the process is just don't give up.
Yeah, I got you. Now, this is another interesting thing. Like, you have a son with special needs, a role that requires strength, patience, and purpose. What have your son taught you that no one else could?
One, love, you know, and I want to say not just him and his mother. Because when I had Nico, I was in the young prime of my career. So now it's like I'm doing shows 4 or 5 days out the week. So my kids are always gonna be taken care of, and I'm always gonna have time with them. But I learned through the process just from the love I had from him, and the nights of just sitting up wondering and thinking like damn, you know, like how my baby may feel, just watching everything that his mom did, you know, and she was supportive of me to the max, and just watching her. And it's crazy, right? Because Nico, of course, you know, at a time he was walking. Then it got to a time where his strength kind of went out, so he was more moving within a wheelchair, and that always stuck in the back of my brain. So even with my child being grown now, I still pick him up and then just to watch him when his mama come around, he gonna get up and try and walk, get in the vehicle. He gonna do whatever he needs to do without no help. But when it come to me, I'm sitting over there just trying to baby him, man.
Yeah.
But I commend her, because it's like those are strong situations, right? We created a foundation for him called Unique and Gifted. And we got something called Special Needs there in Houston. I never knew it was that many families with special needs kids. And you know, they don't never have nothing for themselves. So what we did is we created a day for him that the mayor gave us, and it's called Special Needs Day, Unique and Gifted. And I created their own carnival. They get haircuts, they get their nails done, their hair done, games, music. I have my jeweler, Iceman Nick, come bring some of his high-end jewelry for these kids to be able to put on, trains, animals, and just to see that moment of breath and life put into them families
Yeah.
And that's a different type of feeling. I had a lady cry and said her son, I believe he might have been like 7 years old, her coming there was his first time ever getting a haircut in life. And she cried and cried. Moments like that is like, you got to understand, these are the reasons why we really do it. You know what I'm saying? So even with my son Nico, it motivated me to jump off and be in that lane too, to be there to comfort the people, to be there to kind of overshadow them and be one of they go-to guys that'll be there to fight for them too, man.
Yeah, for sure. Now, people talk about superpowers in kids with special needs. What would you say Nico's superpower is?
Well, man, using 3 iPads at once. No, I'm cracking joke because he would iPad up, but he just, he light up the room, and it crazy. He got a super deep voice like me. He don't say much, and he can be mean as can be trying to bother. But when the ladies come around, he gonna go from dancing to be the sweetest thing on earth, man. So yeah, but yeah, that man, it'd be amazing just seeing some of these moments,
Man, it's crazy because we're living in a time where people are labeling it black nepotism. LeBron and Bronny, Beyonce and Blue Ivy, even you and your son, LeJared, on the mic together, on the red carpet with your daughter. These are all things of what people will say is nepotism. What are your thoughts on the concept and how intentional you are about building something that your kids can inherit, not just witness?
I didn't even know the meaning of the word, what you just said.
Nepotism?
Yeah.
That's the cultural word, or every year we got certain words that, just come out of the abyss.
So this is what I'm gonna say. When you decide to have your first child as well as me, I would think the process is, when we have our child, no matter what, make sure that they live a better life than what we did. Mm-hmm. That's the whole goal, especially when you come from any slums, any neighborhood within the cities of, hey, my child's not gonna have to experience what I went through. So for me, all my kids do music. All my kids have their own star power alone, And I feel like, why would I stagnate that, or why would I hold them back from letting them blossom to do what they want to do?
Yeah.
I don't have to force my kid like, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. No, let them expand, and at the end of the day, these your kids. That's something you're proud of. It's nowhere in the world nobody's not supposed to be proud of Blue Ivy dancing on stage. She loved doing what her mama do. That's what she idolized. Even with my boys, even all the way to my daughter idolized me to death. So it'd be times she'll sit in the studio with me all night, and she may be like, well, you know what? Now I want to make my song today. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like these are things that need to be done, because my thing is, why do people want to see kids put in a box? Why not let them grow and be something, I wouldn't even understand how somebody can get mad at that, like that's something we would have wanted if we were able to back then.
Yeah.
Like with you, I'm pretty sure if your child want to go do football or anything else, it's like
done.
You see what I'm saying?
You gonna do something.
Matter of fact, that's what you want to do. Come on, I'm finna go get a whole prime example. So my son, Houston, loved football. I went and took over a whole league, meaning from age 6 all the way to 12, playing football. Like anything my kids do, I'm gonna make sure I push that line for their dream and help people in the process.
Yeah, I love that. Now, just so everybody's on the same page, the word nepotism means the practice among these with power or influence of favoring relatives, friends, or associates, especially by giving them jobs. So, that's your definition.
I think that's just somebody woke up and wanting to complain, because at the end of the day, they ain't putting their own child in position, or they ain't able to. And if that's the case, don't be mad at the rest of the world for doing it. You may ask somebody to help you or guide you the way you would do the same thing.
No.
I really don't get into a lot of that opinions of people, you know what I'm saying? And even though some stuff get under your skin, it's just like it don't even make sense. Why would you be mad for allowing the child to follow in the footsteps of their parents? Who else do we got from back in the day that followed in they shit? You had the whole Winans family, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, it's nothing wrong with.
No, for sure. You had Jacksons.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, anything great had some type of ties to it. I think in sports now, I mentioned LeBron. You got Dion and Shiloh as well. Like it's natural. Now it may rub people the wrong way, but it's also contradicting for people to kind of speak about it. Right? I'm a person that believes in allowing a person to identify their purpose. It's your job as the parent or as the leader to say, hey, this is what you want to do. We're going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Direction and guiding. But, you know, for a person to take offense to doing what I may deem is, like, why wouldn't you want Blue Ivy to perform? Why wouldn't you want, you know what I'm saying, Shador to be as successful as his father was?
The one thing I have noticed that I don't like is they become extra hard on the kids too. You know what I'm saying? Whether that may be because they may have set their expectations so high, or it may be just because they pure want to see them not succeed. And I feel like that don't necessarily be fair because you're not giving them time to. All they got to do is make one mistake, and you're like, see, he ain't nothing that. I don't feel like that ain't right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not. But at the end of the day, bro, everybody's journey, no matter father, son, mother, daughter, you're going to have your own road to the top or to where you want to get to. And nepotism or not, with help or without help, you know, you got to go through those roads. And I just hope and pray that every person has outlets to depend on. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to get tough. You feel me?
It's already now.
You feel what I'm saying?
The climate is all bad right now.
Yeah. So let's transition to music. Primarily the Rap-A-Lot era. What do you remember most vividly about your first conversation with Jay Prince?
Me and Jay always been close, man. I was actually probably one of the first ones they used to call him Pops, you know, because now everybody call him Pops. So we've always had a close relationship. I think the thing that made me different was when me and Jay finally connected, I was one of the ones that was on top of my business. So when most people were signed to him as an artist, it was a merge between my label and Rap-A-Lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, he respected the fact of me being my own CEO, my own boss. And I'll never forget, he used to always tell me, you know, he wanted to make sure and see my my wings spread. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I was in a bidding war with a few labels, but the top two was Universal and him. And if I would have went with Universal at the time, I would have ended up being an artist. And I got the same amount of money that I would have got from Universal from him to be my own boss. You know what I'm saying? And our relationship been close ever since, you know?
Yeah. Who made you like this? Or what happened where you thought bigger than you being the talent?
I think it was just the hustle nature in me, you know, just to get it. Because you got to remember, in Texas, you had Screw definitely started it to the masses, where you had tapes being sold everywhere, you know, to every record store there was, they were getting sold. And after Screw passed, you had Swisher House, you had Chameleon there doing his tapes, then you had Slim and them doing their tapes, and Paul, and then on our side you had me, you know what I'm saying, doing Slab, which is slow, loud, banging. That's something I created with me, Rakesh, and my cousin Dougie. And I think just getting out there, putting in the sweat, the tears, the not sleeping, going city to city, just coming out the trunk, being in the middle of a hood, trying to, while one partner may be hustling work, we trying to hustle with the CDs at the same. So just watching it grow from, we was happy to sell 10 to now we selling thousands at a time, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what made me more of that step out, because I always been a leader anyway, you know what I'm saying? And I would always push to get certain stuff to go through.
Now, what kind of pressure comes with being aligned with a name like Rap A Lot in a city like Houston?
Man, at the end of the day, I don't think it was a pressure. I think at the end of the day, man, people gonna love you and people gonna hate you.
For sure.
You know, because I wouldn't even necessarily say it was because of my ties with them. Some people may naturally just hate me because they may have their own preference. Some people may naturally love me because that's what that is.
So I want to talk about, you becoming VP at Grand Hustle. And what does that position of power look like in your role? What impact does the VP of a record label have?
I was a VP. I mean, it's still my brother. We still do it. We got so much. We doing movies and other stuff now. But for me, it worked because I was an artist, right? And a lot of times with artists and labels, artists tend to feel some way. Whether the label may be doing something or not doing something. And they look at it from a different perspective. So with me being the best of both worlds, understanding what that is to be the person that really handle my business and be on top of being the CEO and also being an artist, when they vent to me, I can put it in perspective to help the label understand, hey man, this was not being done and this how they feel. And from however the label feel, I can put it in perspective for them like, well look, you do got to understand they invest in this and you, certain stuff you got to be held accountable for doing. So that part, it ended up working itself out, because I was the media.
The nucleus.
Yeah.
So what did working with T.I. teach you about leadership and the things that you probably learned from working shoulder to shoulder with him?
I think just growth in general. And the crazy thing is I think we both grew together because we both can bump our heads in situations at times. And times I don't want to hear it, he may be the one in my ear telling me to go a different direction. At times he don't want to hear it, I may be the one in his ear telling him to go a different direction. So even though we both help each other, we both can be stubborn as can be, but it still leads to we both growing, because a lot of our kids are similar age. Like we got a lot of different stuff in common. You got to think from, we both got little girls now that control our life and they both stars in their own way.
For sure.
So it's just, we definitely grow. And business-wise, we do different things to just try and elevate because the goal is legacy. I'm doing this to make sure something ever happens to me, my kids are gonna be okay to where their kids can be okay. Or at least I laid the blueprint for them to easily jump right in line to do what they need to do.
Nepotism. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, you gonna make me get a shirt that say this shit.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk real quick about our collaboration, right, with a foundation. Man, my foundation has been something that I didn't even know how impactful it was until I left Charlotte. You see what I'm saying? And what people don't know is you've helped me get back into the foundation world in a positive light, right? With taking on philanthropic funds and doing it in a way that brands can align with. Look at her.
This is my manager here.
You dig what I'm saying?
Because I think I want to tell you I appreciate you and salute you anyway, just for even being open-minded and for us to be able to put things together, because it is a lot of people that look up to us, and it's a lot of people that we may change their life minutes before they may crash out. You know what I'm saying? You got to think of some of these kids' lives you're touching that may not have nothing to go home to. You may be their only hope. And that's giving them the drive to keep going,
Right.
The same with disasters and other things. And I think it's just important for us to lean on each other and build. You know, just like Trae, they coming up and you like, hey, bro, you know, I know you doing this, but if you need something from me, let me play my part too. You know what I'm saying? And I think we should be at a point in life now where we all can really build off each other, you know? Because a lot of times in the past, people dealt off egos, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever the situation, however they can benefit. And I feel like it becomes a stronger relationship when it ain't one-sided, you know? So I definitely feel like the things we do definitely gonna touch a lot of people, you know? And not even just from sports, whether it be music, just to people as a whole.
Yeah, yeah. Let's,
Oh, appreciate you for Bojangles, because she told me if everybody ain't have Bojangles, I couldn't do the interview. So everybody in there eating Bojangles. But yeah, I told her that's part of her rider from now on.
Did you like that? Did you like the Bojangles? Oh, yeah? Oh, she shy. She ain't one. I'm used to this.
Yeah,
You feel what I'm saying?
easy, Carl. She's just looking at how she can get ready to start terrorizing. See,
You dig what I'm
I
saying?
know my child like a book.
Boom.
Go ahead.
Now, you got to get the Bo-Berry biscuits next time.
Oh, she do. Yeah, she.
You feel me?
So they just built one in Houston. It's the first one in Houston. So she got turned on to it, and that's why she loved it. Yeah.
You get the cinnamon biscuits, too?
Nah, she get the Bo-Berry biscuits. And what kind of shake you get? The blueberry or vanilla?
Strawberry and vanilla.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Say less. Let's talk about Angel, bro. Dropping on July 3rd on your birthday.
Yeah.
Which is close to mine.
Which is close to her.
When is yours?
July 28th.
What?
Yep. I got to get ready for her party right after Trae Day, Lilo and Stitch.
Did you see the movie? For the people who has not seen Lilo and Stitch, is this a good movie or is it a bad movie?
Good.
What makes it good?
I just like it.
What makes you like it? Is it the sound effects? Is it the graphics? Is it
Graphics.
The graphics. Did you watch it in the movies or did you watch it at home?
Movies.
When you go to the movies, what is something that you have to eat when you watching the movies?
A slushie and some pizza.
What color is your slushie that you choose as you indulge in your pizza?
Cherry and blue raspberry.
So you get the whole mix thing going on. What type of pizza do you get? Do you get
Pepperoni.
Okay, you get pepperoni. Do you know how to cook the pizza?
Neither
Yes,
one of
I
us.
do.
Neither. To be honest with you, I don't know how to cook. So that's our next thing. We're gonna
I
try.
do.
We're gonna try and go to a cooking class
Hey,
together.
don't blame me in it. I already know
Don't
how
put
to
you
cook.
in. Well, I don't know how to cook.
What you know how to
I'll
cook?
teach you. I'll teach you. Cookies, pizza.
That's the heat
Spaghetti.
up. You just heating up stuff.
I'm talking about from scratch.
We going to cooking class.
Nah.
So tell me this, sweetie pie, honey bunches of O's. What should your dad give you the responsibility of making for Thanksgiving?
What kind of food you want to cook?
Chicken tenders.
Chicken tenders. You gonna bring the chicken tenders to the Thanksgiving dinner?
Yes.
She probably gonna go to Bojangles and just order it.
Now, while you indulging in your chicken tenders,
I might as well just drive by myself.
you can drive.
Yes.
Barbecue sauce or honey mustard?
Honey mustard.
Well, she don't really eat sauces at all. I'm trying to get on the white gravy. She wasn't going for it.
I would not go for it. And look, he's bald.
You don't say that in the middle of an interview. We all know I'm bald.
That's just like my homeboy Peggy. Peggy bald too. Talk to us about the upcoming project.
Angel, man. Angel is inspired basically by my baby and just life. If you look at the cover, it's me and her on the cover. I think Angel probably was the most vulnerable I've ever been, music-wise. In the process of dealing with what I was dealing with, I'm in LA, you know, Ray, my sister, was telling me, she like, man, you need to do something. Like, you gotta leave. Like, trust in God, but you gotta go do something with yourself because you're sitting here just drowning yourself every day. And I went home. When I finally agreed, I went home and I recorded like 3 days straight and just letting it all out. And that's what led to Angel. And so you're gonna hear a bunch of man, it's a lot of people who, I'm human, so it's a lot of people who can relate, and a lot of people ain't blessed to be able to put the words in a certain way where they could be felt. But when they find something that they can relate to that make them feel like that's me he talking to, you know, I think this is what's gonna be real important with this project. And I promised the man up above, man. I told him if I got my daughter back, I told him that I'm gonna make sure he get all the glory. So even throughout the tape of me being me, I still made it a way he can be uplifted to where people can relate and people can understand it. Because, you know, sometimes everybody not trying to hear no church music and other stuff.
So that's what I'm about to ask. Is this a gospel?
Nah, it really isn't. But the crazy thing is there's so much music that can touch every type of person.
Yeah, I heard the thing where it's like, this may be a spiritual encounter.
Yeah, definitely that. It speaks from the heart, it speaks from the soul. She featured on that twice. Truth featured on that twice, and man, it's Yolanda Adams on there. You go, bro. But yeah, so it's definitely one of them albums. 22 records. With shout out 1 RPM. I know they didn't want me to have that many songs on there, but you know when you have something, it's like I shaved off a lot already.
Yeah.
But anything more that I feel would have took away from
what you was trying to get off.
Yeah.
You said before that standing up for what's right comes at a cost. What has that cost been for you personally and professionally?
A lot of things, because when you got to think, George Floyd was my partner. You know, when you think of Breonna Taylor, you know, it's like when we stand for certain things, that's going to make a lot of people agree with us, but it's going to make even more disagree with us, you know? And at the end of the day, it's not about who agree, who don't agree. It's about just standing for what's right. You know, like, man, I see so many situations that I speak up on, and, you know, some people respect it, and then you have some people that be like, oh, I don't rock with him for that. And at the end of the day, whatever I do, I got to be willing to accept what come with it, you know? So, yeah.
Who's someone you owe a thank you to that the world may not know about?
And a lot of people, man. A lot of people, bro. I'm going to say my kids. I'm going to tell the truth right here. I thank her because she really making me into the person that I feel I'm supposed to be. I want to, that's a lot of things. I don't think you know how many people really took part through these journeys with me that people don't know that one phone call may have made me not be sitting in the cell the rest of my life right now.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it have been in the past, future, whatever, it's like, that's a lot of people that you watching her, she gonna, this is what she do all day.
Oh, no, bro, I love this.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you like this is probably the first time where, you know, we've had a sit down where the child was actually here and you comfortable. So this ain't no fake, this is not a facade, this is really like, this is who you are. So the next time people try to assume or to put a narrative or push a narrative on the Black father, this is what it is. You know, for the person who says you're creating broken homes, for the person who says you're doing all this and that, but she feels safe, she feels comfortable, she feels herself. We need more of this. So dare I say, like, I'm in love with this encounter because that's how I am with mine. The world don't see it because I don't want the world to see it. That's not to say, you know, your views and my views is different. Like, I literally see my children as my purpose. I see my children as ways like, how am I so lucky to serve you? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's something in every single one of them that's like, oh yeah, that's me. Oh, you got that from me. Oh, he gonna be the one or she gonna be the one that blah, blah, blah. And when you spend that much time I think you're doing your part in shaping, you know, what the world sees from the black father. So
Yeah, man. And again, like when you saying how you see different things within your kids, man, it's crazy, right? Because I'm always the person to be like, hey, y'all good, you straight? Mm-hmm. She do it probably 10 times more than me to me all day, to the point like, yeah, I'm good, but it just, these are traits that they just naturally have because they us, man. And those are beautiful moments because it's just like the same way I care, she cares just as much, you know what I'm saying? But she definitely is a handful because you learn patience and all kind of stuff, you know? Because like even, you got to think, right? When people doing the interview, you got your child on your head, scrunching your beard, poking your face, whatever. You know, some people may get frustrated, but I've learned at the end of the day with her, just I can tune in to you and whatever she doing, it's not bothering me at all.
I'm with you. Trust me. The patience. Well, I got 8 of them.
I ain't got that many.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
get some blessings with
He
you.
has 4.
So, Truth, help me out with this. As we end things here, can you help us end it?
What you wanted to say?
So when I say all together, we're gonna say one love. When I say all together, we're gonna say one love. So we're gonna hold our hand out. You got hands? Good. We're gonna look at that camera, then we're gonna go to that camera. Well, where's our camera? There it goes, over there. We're gonna go to that camera, then we're gonna finish with this camera right here. It's gonna look similar like this. One finger, one pinky, one thumb, and when I say all together, we're gonna say what?
You say do what, a pinky or what?
One love. So one finger, one pinky,
H.
one thumb, and then when I say all together, we're gonna say one love. You ready, True?
We're gonna start that.
Here we go. We're gonna start right here. Ready? One finger, one pinky, one thumb, all together, one love. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, True and Trae Tha Truth. Appreciate you, bro.
You come, man.
Boom. You know, I help you up.
Nah, she got you. Come on, baby.